Hello. This is going to be part of the Sunday school lessons that we've been having in church. The last one that we gave was this one, but there was only two people there, so I think I'll repeat this one. But this one is about refusing resentment. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5, the last few words, thinketh no evil. There are all kinds of records that we keep in life. Bank records, credit card records, income tax records, and even health records. However, there are some records we as a Christian should never keep, like records of people who have wronged or hurt us. The last phrase in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5 tells us, love thinketh no evil. That word thinketh, that's an interesting word. What goes on in your mind? That's what's thinking. The word translated thinketh in the Greek there, it's kind of a bookkeeping term that means to take an account of or keep a record of. So love keeps no record of wrongs. It's always forgiving, and it's not resentful. Resentment is a deadly poison that will kill any relationship. Therefore, let's look at 3 stops to refusing resentment in our lives. First off, analyze the consequences of resentment. There are at least 4 consequences of being resentful. It makes me sinful. Resentment toward one person will spill over and hurt all of our relationships. Resentment keeps an accurate mental ledger of wrongs, just waiting for the opportunity to collect. So being resentful is being sinful because it violates what command in Ephesians 4:32? Well, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. So if you're forgiving one another, you're not going to keep records of wrongs. Resentment grows into bitterness and shows up in the way we talk about people. Whom do you most often gossip or say negative things about? That is the person that you resent. And that's a sin. It prevents God from forgiving me, number 2. Being resentful is holding someone in our debt. They wrong us, and so we want to be repaid for that wrong. And in Matthew 6:12, it tells us that asking God to forgive us as we forgive our debtors. So this statement is the only part of the Lord's Prayer about which Jesus makes further comments. Our Lord gives us this awesome warning about being resentful and keeping a record of wrongs. But if we forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. It takes the joy out of life, number 3. Resentfulness nullifies all the joy and happiness we could otherwise experience in our life. As someone has said, it's not what you eat that will kill you, it's what eats you. So the book of Job tells us some people die in a full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. And that's in Job 21:23. But in verse 25, 2 verses later, it declares, another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasure. So if you want an enjoyable life, consider not being resentful. As a resentful person dies without ever enjoying the good things of life. When we keep a record of wrongs and become resentful, we can't enjoy our families, our churches, our jobs, or our money, or anything, really. So when we keep a record of wrongs and resentment takes up permanent residence in our hearts, and we're perpetually sad. It's a killjoy in our lives. Being resentful prevents us from experiencing some truth that is found in 1 Timothy 6:17, where it says, God gives everyone, rich and poor, abundantly, all things to enjoy. Abraham Lincoln said, people are about as happy or unhappy as they make up their minds to be. Well, that's true. I go around singing, blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. And then someone, if they comment on that, I say, well, it's an attitude issue, isn't it? Just all about our attitude. We need to remember that becoming resentful by keeping records of wrongs is not caused by the actions of other people. It is caused by our reactions to their actions. It is an inside job with serious consequences. It hurts all of our relationships. Refusing to let go of a hurt is one of the biggest destroyers of a marriage. Resentment quickly turns into bitterness, and you will find yourself full of negative thoughts towards your spouse. It will do the same thing in any relationship, maybe your children or your boss or whatever. Someone has said, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. So it is also failing to obey a command given to us in Ephesians 4:27. Neither give place to the devil. If you are resentful, you're giving him place in your life. It's foolish to harbor resentment because it doesn't change the past, hurt the person we resent, or make us feel better. In fact, it makes us feel terrible. Resentment puts us in such a bad mood. No one wants to be around us. It hurts every relationship we have. Personalize the benefits. While resentment is an excellent account keeper, love keeps terrible records about being wronged. When we keep records of wrongs, we take every opportunity to collect from those who wronged us by taking from their reputation through gossip or making a withdrawal from their happiness through rudeness. Being resentful makes us eager to collect on our hurt. However, there are at least two benefits for refusing resentment. It proves we appreciate God's forgiveness, and it protects us from other sins. When we refuse to forgive and keep a record of wrongs, it becomes a landmine of hurt. When someone places the slightest pressure on that area, we tend to explode and are then guilty of anger, harsh words, slander, perhaps profanity, or even worse. Forgiveness guards our heart from those sins, while keeping records of wrongs opens the door of our heart to all kinds of sin. If it is a list of sins, the first one can be the worst, or the root cause of those that follow. Utilize the cure. There is only one way to get rid of resentment. Let go of the hurt. Being resentful is a choice we make. When someone wrongs or hurts us, we must make a choice. We can hold on to the hurt, become resentful, or we can choose to love and forgive. What does 1 Peter 4:8 says? It says, have a fervent charity, and it covers a multitude of sins. Some people say we must forgive and forget. We really can't do that because we can't always choose to forget. However, we can choose to love, because love remembers and still forgives. Even in the best marriages, spouses sometimes do or say things that hurt each other. Therefore, that's basically one difference between a happy and a healthy marriage, an unhappy, unhealthy marriage. In a happy marriage, the partners let go of the hurts and move on. In an unhappy marriage, they cling to the hurts and harbor resentment. The kind of marriage you have will be largely determined by whether or not you refuse resentment and let go of the hurt. When anyone hurts us, we not only have a choice, we also have a command in Colossians 3:13. Forgiving one another as Christ hath forgiven you. Lord bless you.